Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good day in the market. It's Wednesday, August 27th. I'm going to review 0-day options today on SPY and our small account challenge. Thanks for being here. Tight range today. Grindy, trappy. I think market's kind of probably waiting on data coming tomorrow, I believe. I don't know. The IV was high today. It was in the 20s all day. And then the tight range just made it pretty awful. Even for selling options, it wouldn't have been good because nothing was really decaying. Nothing was gaining value until later in the day, of course, then stuff starts to move more quickly. Let's see, tomorrow we have initial jobless claims, pending home sales. That's maybe part of it. PCE on Friday, that'll be a big one. So yeah, and then on the longer time frame, on the 30-minute, we're at all-time highs. So we hit all-time highs today. So likes to build liquidity when it gets up here. Sometimes it just rejects, but oftentimes it just starts chopping and building liquidity, and we have that with this tight range, lower volume. Yeah, so it's very trappy because if you don't scale, if you scale this how the past few trading days would be, it would be like this. They're like, oh wow, this is tiny. But naturally, you're going to make it larger so you can see what's actually going on. And then you see a move like these candles or these. You're like, oh man, this is huge. And they come with volume and velocity, and it creates FOMO. But really, this wasn't even a point from here to here. Other days we'll have 1 point candles. So contracts from here to here aren't really moving. I mean, there are a little bit, but I looked at contracts to get on a small account. I was going to get them here. And all the way up here, I think they're up like 5%. And I was like, that's hardly worth it. They did end up getting up to like 30%, I think, up here. Just because they probably got into the money or something. But just visually, it's big moves for small percentages. But it works both ways. Also, the decay on it, you know, it's not going to, one little red candle is not going to go against you like crazy. But yeah, it's just a little bit grindy today. Let's review the trades though. On the small account, I only took one trade today, I believe. I took one trade today, which I'm happy about because it was not a very good day for trading. On the small account, big account, I've got an awesome trade. Let's see. Yeah. There it is. One trade, there it is. Down $1. That's just from the stop out. So we'll review that, and then I'm going to show you the big account trade. That one's pretty cool. So yeah, in the morning, you know, I saw this and I kind of wanted it, but it was such a tight range already and just very grindy. And let's see. Yeah, so I didn't take it. I was just kind of patient. But yeah, you do have a little shoulder, inverse head and a shoulder. I got the white charted in here as well as this purple, and basically came up, completed that cup, made a little handle, broke the white, and then retested it nicely. I didn't have gold in at that point, but I guess I suppose I could have with these supports. So yeah, I could have gotten it on the break, could have gotten on the retest. Again, it's tight range, so like, yeah, getting on the break here. Let's say magenta's at the top of that. It's just such a tight little range. Given it doesn't always stop there, I'll just kind of keep going like it ended up doing and breaking out. But that was the one trade I guess this morning I could have taken that I missed. Part of the problem was this white line I think was up there. I think it was like down here at the time. So I wasn't really seeing how it's perfectly rejecting that as resistance, then flipping into support. I did see that little cup and handle, like, yeah, it's just, yeah. I didn't like it. And the IV was high. The IV's been high all day for some reason, so I don't get why that would be for data later in the week, but it definitely seemed a little elevated, especially given that it's not been like a big sell-off or anything. It's just been grinding up, and that the range has been tight. Usually that makes IV go lower. Market just grinding up usually crushes IV in a tight range, so not sure on that one. But anyways, got gold coming up, so I'm looking then for white to rebuild liquidity. Certainly did here. Made a nice little inverse head. For me, I think this one was here because this looks much nicer. Yeah, I had a little bit different spot. So it's kind of me identifying and trying to figure out which algos are accurate and lining them up, so that's why sometimes in the morning it takes more time for me to sort out what I'm comfortable taking. But yes, this did make a nice little retest for an inverse head. Broke it, but then lacked continuation, so there was no trade here, even though it set up good. I suppose you could say rejection on this liquidity here, but not even. I mean, this is such a tight little move here. Like if you get in, yeah, I don't know. So it's not a great setup there. I don't like it that much. If it had continuation to the upside, sure, that would have been nice. And you could have, I guess, on this green candle and then just manage your risk with this gold line, which would have ended up actually being a red trade. Well, no, I guess if you took profit at high of day, that would have been like maybe 3%. Yeah, it's literally just the limit order of the fill that you're getting in gains. So if you get a bid, get an order at the bid and it fills, and then if you get a order at the ask and it sells, that's basically the profit you're getting. I'll show you the contract I took, but did the same thing kind of here. I actually was away for this, otherwise I maybe would have taken that, but I'm glad I didn't, because it just then did a huge flushy candle with volume, which happens in tight ranges. Relatively huge, but really small, but just trigger stops in a wedge. Could have done this one, but yeah, I'm just trying to be patient. And then we have this mutual trade, this retracement trade, which you could have taken on the break of this purple. As you see, this purple continue to hold support here, here, here. It wicked there, but it then on the next candle held support. The bodies are all up here. Could have taken it here with this being your stop, white being your stop. Yeah, I guess I wasn't too confident in that. I just let me see when I traded. I was kind of looking more for structure today. I was being pretty picky, which I'm happy about. Where was the trade I actually took? Okay, yeah. So it came all the way down here, and then it actually bounced perfectly on my purple at the very bottom, right here. So yeah, I watched it come down. I'm like, well, I could get calls here with this being my stop. I didn't, which is fine. Yeah, I need to just trust my lines more. It did wick through there, and I considered getting calls there again, because this is also rejecting this liquidity down here, over here. So bounce on that liquidity, rejection, as well as using purple as your stop. Could have gotten a nice little spot for calls here, realistically. Other than that, it would have been a break on this white, and I watched the contracts from here to here, which probably, I mean, maybe would have held up till that red candle. This was like 20%, maybe. I think here to the very top was like 35%. 645, 58. That was 1 point. So if I got a really good fill on both ends, yeah. But why would I close it here? It's like, I guess rejecting that liquidity, but yeah. Anyways, tight range. Didn't take one there. I did take a call. Where did I actually decide to take one? Okay, so I took a call up here. So it had broken out of the white, and it just kind of grinded up in that white, and I didn't want that. It hadn't retraced and retested the white. Of course, this could be a nice big inverse head with a nice shoulder liquidity up here. Came up, kind of rejected it, but the fact that I already broke the white, I'm looking for a retest on white, potentially for an inverse head and shoulder, another one to complete this cup at least, and then maybe top of purple. So that was what I was thinking right here. We have a little inverse head and a shoulder, and this trade actually worked. I'll tell you why it didn't though. It worked, but it didn't. I got it right here, 105. So this contract was 92 cents, and it's the same one I looked at down here where it was like 71. So yeah, it was 20 cents, which is like 30% or something, whatever percentage that is. Not great. I mean, this thing there just, yeah. Anyways, got it here. Sat through all this. It didn't really decay much because this was the one right at the money. And this is such a small move down that it only came down, I think, maybe 5 or 6%. And I was like, I'll just kind of hold it. I was holding it for this move right here, basically. I didn't know when that was coming, but I kind of assumed it potentially could. And then as it grinded up further and then we completed the cup, like, well, it's possible we make a big fleshy candle and need a head, inverse head, to rally, and I really didn't want to hold through that. So once it got up here, I was like, I'm just gonna set a stop on it. So yeah, somewhere up here I put a stop. Yeah, I put a stop there, and then this candle right here stopped me out. Just this candle right here. So from right here to here, it did not do anything as far as value goes. So hindsight, sure, I should have held it longer. I could have put leaving a flat line. I didn't feel like managing it. It was only one contract, so I could have stopped out of one and left the other one for a runner, but because I only had one, oh, earnings after hours maybe? That's a big move. Yeah. But even then this was pretty good, but it wasn't that big of a move. I think this went up to, I think that was like maybe 20%. Anyways, that would have been nice, but that was my only trade, and then I was just like waiting kind of for later in the day to take a more obvious trade. It was 215. I was like, I'll just sit. But then I did see opportunity to go short just because it lacked continuation here as far as building any kind of structure. And nearing towards the end of day, I thought we could have a little retrace, mutual interest retrace, and I knew how to manage my risks. And at this point, actually, I looked at Emperor's chart. Shout out him. He's on Eric's Discord. So they had this one, which is a little bit more. I put in one similar, but theirs was a little bit more mellow. Right here. Mine was a little steeper, a little more aggressive, but the problem with mine was that it kept breaking it. You see, if I put it there, it gets grinding down and then it breaks it, and then so it was just kind of choppy. But even on his, it didn't stay within it. Like, it kind of broke out. But I got the contracts. I got 2 of them. So it's crazy. The whole day the contracts were hardly moving, and then just as time decays and you get in the last hour or two, they just start to get kind of crazy, especially when you get just a lot of slippage in your favor. So I got 2 puts, SPX, where 257. So it wasn't like the best fill on the perfect resistance. It was right here. Well, actually, right next to Emperor's, which is interesting. On this candle right here. So my stop was going to be this line up here. Just thinking for a retracement trade. Pretty easy to manage. The range had been tight. If it grinds up here, it's really not going to lose much value, honestly, if it's, at the money. And so, and I think it maybe broken his magenta. Yeah, it had broken his magenta. 7. Hard to tell, but I think this candle broke it. Maybe it's the blue I was thinking of. No, it was the magenta. Yeah. And then on my chart, I don't know if I had more lines there or not at that point, but I guess not. Anyways, held that, and it just started grinding down. I'm like, oh, this is nice. Contract started to move some, so I got it for 295, and then as you see, I was put a lot of cancels. I put a limit at the bid for 430 to sell the first one at 301 because it was testing or getting close to testing. I guess that's right here on that candle. But then it kind of ripped out of there, and so I couldn't get a fill. That's on that candle, which is rejection of that liquidity, as well as on his magenta, I think. Yeah, it wasn't that close. It was pretty close, but it was basically on this wick. I threw the limit in there. It didn't fill. I'm like, I kind of wanted to change it and just get it filled, just take some profits, since it was like a retracement trade. But I didn't. Then I flipped them both to stops, I think. Yeah, so I put one limit, then I put in a stop, canceled the stop, then I canceled both stops at 303 right here. That's interesting. And then I sold one at 306, so 295 to 410. So this was the second chance I got. So this one wicked down, and then this was the 306. I think this was the same price I was trying to limit order before. So sold that first one there, since it was retesting my line, this liquidity, as well as Emperor's here. Let's see, right there. In case it bounced on magenta. And then I kept the next one in case it flushed through. And actually, it's too bad it didn't happen, but I tried to get more once it broke that red. So sold that one, put the stop loss in for the other one. I don't know why it says canceled. I guess I canceled it then. Then I put a limit order to buy another one at 530. So I sold the first one 410. I was going to buy another one at 530, and that was once it broke that at 311. So it actually broke my purple right then too. So my purple was accurate. It was just I didn't have that other one. So on this candle, actually, I put a limit to buy another one, and it didn't fill. I wanted to start scaling into it, especially if it started to kind of retest. I was going to start building a position on that, but it just decided to flush. Given it was a retracement trade, it wasn't kind of a continuation. It didn't necessarily need to. So that was right here. Yeah, I was trying to buy more, and it never kind of retraced to get me any more, unfortunately, because the last contract I still had, it went up to $11, and this was a full-on positive slippage in my favor, which was awesome. That was at 312 the next minute, literally the next minute. So it went from me trying to get filled at 530 to going to $11 in a minute, over 100% just in that minute. This happens so fast. It's like I quick flip to the broker, and active trader on Thinker or active trader on Fidelity, it's not fast at all, especially in a day. Like it starts to lag and just gets slow. Really annoying. So I'm clicking through all the buttons. It's like limit order, market order, sell. There's like 18 buttons to click. Not conducive. Usually have it kind of queued up if I'm expecting it, but it maybe worked in my favor because I got the very bottom of this move and it was just sitting here, and by the time I got my fill, it was like right here. So I think it was on that one. Yeah, it wasn't on this one. I guess it did go a little lower, but it was too fast. So got a fill on that one, which I think is like 300 something percent, 295 to 11. So yeah, it's been a while since I've had a percentage that big on such a small tight range day. All of a sudden you get these big fleshy candles, like relatively big, and your IV pumps. So got the last one there. I was like considering getting the bounce, but I was like, you know what, that was a good one. I'm just gonna chill. So ended up just wedging up into close, black continuation, and I don't know what's after hours earnings or something. So basically a flat day again on little account, which is better than losing money. And I think my whatever that metric is called is negative still. So flat is better than losing, and that's what I got for you. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money sticks around. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.